about the Slack, and it is now $20 billion company. So there is a interesting story behind Slack's growth. So previously in their early stage, Slack was suffering from 10 to 12% trial to paid customer conversion, and it was very horrible actually, because it was below the standard for SaaS for this scale. So the founder actually was very, very curious, and he was very interested about the onboarding things. And what he did is that a brilliant idea, Jawad, I would say, which is he introduced a bot, Slack bot, and this bot actually failed the new onboarded users to feel something like that they are not alone. There is someone who is willing to always help him, and definitely other helping issues, sharing tips and every single thing. And just for by only one single tricks and one single onboarding technique, the Slack actually eventually seen 30% conversion from trial to paid version, which is way above the average trial to paid version, which is 12 to 13%, 15% most probably. So, and after within 7 years, it became $20 billion startup, and definitely it's massively successful, and we all are using this thing, every single thing. So it is the thing that UX can do. Okay, it is the thing. So today, UX is something like for the founders, what I have seen, it looks like it is something like nice to have thing, and the problem is this. So that there are some crises. Number one is UX job posting. UX job posting reduced from 2022 to 2025, reduced 70%. Can you imagine? 70% reduction in job posting. While average churn, every single SaaS actually facing the churn ratio is 5 to 7% per month. 32% churn is responsible for bad UX, poor UX. But the SaaS products, SaaS founders and SaaS marketing teams, also the sales team, investing millions of revenue, I would say 5 to 10x more on acquisition rather than SaaS, rather than user experience designing. It's like pouring water on leaky bucket, something like that. And B2B customer acquisition cost for SaaS is 1,000 to 1,500 per customer. But the metrics is, if you invest only $50 for each customer in user experience, definitely the customer acquisition cost will be very, very significantly low. So the question is, why founders actually don't invest in user experience? What do you think?
Makes sense. Like it's you shared like quite a few case studies on how companies are using and whatever companies are taking UX help. But I think it depends on the situation of the company. If a company is starting out, it can like raise like $1 million, but the product is not ready. So the UX factor comes in just after the product market fit. When there's like, for example, when we in the initial phase we didn't care about UX, it was all like UI, and we didn't know the importance. But when we gradually started getting more and more customers, we felt the pain point. So everyone doesn't feel the pain point yet. The company has to go to a certain stage and then start feeling the pain point when like they see, hey, our churn is high. Like our acquisition is a lot, but our churn is going high. And when everyone starts to like roll back and see where they're churning out and why the customers are churning out, when they ask questions, then they figure out, okay, it's not the features. It's like maybe the user isn't finding out how to use the product. Maybe they're like they can see the specific parts of the product, and then they realize. So the realization part comes a bit late actually for some products, and then when they realize, and like, oh my god, then like they need the UX thing. But it's not like a instant thing. You say, okay, I need to make the UI beautiful. Like that's like an instant thing. But founders take some time to understand the UX, and when they realize, they go all in.
Fantastic. So Jawad, I want to introduce you. Jawad is the founder and CEO of BizReply. BizReply is something for looking for keywords and looking for social media post across 12 social media channels just by only one single keyword, and you can find all of the post across Reddit, across LinkedIn, X, every single social media on one single dashboard. And Jawad is actually doing this fantastically. Jawad is now located from New York, and he's a fantastic founder. Also, he's a serial founder, serial entrepreneur. Previously, he built a lot of successful products. So Jawad, thanks for your actual understanding, and thanks for letting me know. So I have some reason that I am wondering. And I also heard from various founders like yours, or also the founders who already crossed the Series A, Series B, or beyond. So they actually, so after the conversation with them, I found few reasons that along with yours, I found other reasons. Like number one is the measurement gap. So there is a significant actually misunderstanding. There is a mismatch between the understanding of the founder and the understanding of the user experience designer towards the UX issues. So when the user says satisfaction up, customer satisfaction went up 15 point, the founder asks, how does that impact my MRR? So the problem is that designers tracks usability, not the conversion rates, and the founder should be, and founder is always obsessed on the MRR, ARR, and these matrices. It's the number one point from my point of view. The reason number two is it is kind of dilemma, which is we'll fix it later mentality. So the founders a lot of founders actually informed me that they thought that they will fix the UX later, but they create the infrastructure, create the product first. So there is no sin in doing so, but the problem is that by the time he's doing this thing and actually throwing the product to the market and users are already using that, these users are actually being habituated with poor user experience and bad design patterns. The problem. Second is lost quality customer. A lot of quality customers actually they lose, and definitely it hurts the brand. Okay, brand. It is the number two. Number three thing is the UX churn connection is missing. Okay, so 30 to 40% of the churn which is related to the SaaS product is related to the user experience. Can you believe it? And when user can't get value anymore, they got frustrated and never finished onboarding. Meanwhile, the companies invest in user experience sees 75% sales increase. So what do you think about this thing?
I have a different opinion on this. Like I totally agree with you on this, and but I think there's a catch. The catch is when the founder is building the MVP of the product, like it would be probably then most founders don't even design the product when they build an MVP. So it's
Yeah.
maybe better to like design the like build the whole product, and when they hit the validation stage, then onboard a UX maybe agency or a team, and then they can redesign the product. So it makes sense to probably, especially in this market, like the market of SaaS is moving super fast, so it's difficult. You know, the UX cycle is big, so like maybe 2 to 4 weeks, the UX cycle goes, then the development stage goes. Whereas like we can ship out a product in 2 days right now. So maybe the founders could probably build out the product when they see like 100 200 customers come in, then quickly onboard someone for the UX, and then build the whole thing. Like you mentioned quite a few factors like churn, they're missing out when they're onboarding, the bad onboarding flow and everything. So maybe if they come in at a later stage, not necessarily like
At the
maybe
very,
two
very
three
early stage.
yeah, maybe it doesn't make sense like in super early stage. When they get traction, it's like they have to get someone onboarded as soon as possible, because like if they don't pass the onboarding stage, they don't like, you know it better, but customers need to get the wow factors. Like I worked with
Yeah,
you,
yeah,
you
exactly.
focus on that, like those wow factors, the onboarding, these are very important. But maybe once they get a few at least customers.
Fantastic. So what you say is that when you get the product market fit, am I right?
Correct.
Product market fit. Okay. So you, as a founder, you have seen that when in the stage of finding product market fit, founders are tend to ignore the UX issues, and there is a good reason for that. I also agree with this one, and I also agree with you is that when AI in any infrastructure is being built by the developers, by the programmers, or by the entrepreneur himself, and he actually all about thinks all about the technology, and definitely he puts the UX issues later, which is very, very good, no problem. But the problem is, and the issue I faced is that you said that when you have some customers, you have some users, and you already have the product market fit, then it's the right time to hire a UX designer, right? I'm
Right now, actually, right, just right now. Like previously, the market was like very predictable. Like we knew what would work, and then we
yeah,
had the time to like design the product, build the product. We knew, okay, there's SEO and all, we'll do it and all. But I think maybe 2 years, 3 years back, it would make sense like, hey, let's design the product and like let's build it, because like the market is like from like 2010 to probably 2022, the market of SaaS was like very normal, and but right now it's like moving so fast, we don't even know what will like make sense like 3 months later.
great, fantastic. So it is very fast. And do you believe that for this for competing with this fast-paced market of SaaS, uh, and actually it becomes very easy for everyone, especially for the visionary one, to build an MVP and create a product within 1 or 2 weeks. thanks to the artificial intelligence and other technologies in the market. So what do you think, what would be the defining factor in this competition? Because this competition is very stiff, and it is actually, so I analyzed 120 Y Combinator companies from batch 2022 to 2025 to date, and I see a lot of product is actually a lot of product is a lot of thing is going on, and a lot of competition in the market. So what do you think, if there is any way that UX makes this competition, and UX give the founder the competitive advantage in this stiff market?
So it's a good question you asked. Like, it's like this is the catch here. Like in the past maybe 6 months, there's like 100,000 probably SaaS built with Replit, lovable and all. But what
Yeah,
makes this product different? Like I think the design and user experience makes a difference because like there's hundreds of scheduling apps built right now, but which one is the easiest to use? There's the catch is there, and I firmly believe like UX is not something AI can replace. Like I haven't been able to replace. Like it's extremely, it's probably impossible. Like I used tried using tools like UX Pilot. It designs like UIs and all, but whatever happens, we build the design and everything, but there needs to be someone who knows the journey very properly. And this has been something we've been struggling. Like if I share my journey about Bizrip, like we
yeah,
have the
yeah,
product and all, but issue was like we were having churns. But when we asked why they were churning, like they said we didn't know this existed. Like they said like you don't have this feature, but we are like we have this feature. So like
yeah.
we work with
Feature
you.
costing.
Exactly. So like we had the feature, but they didn't know we had it. So we made a whole redesign. We saw all the clarity. You saw all the clarities, I'd say, and
Yeah,
then we like it got fixed. And I'm hoping like we're rebuilding the product again with all of new fixes, and I'm hoping the churn would like drastically increase regarding this. And that's where the game is gonna happen moving forward. At least like the 1 to 2 years, the product with the better like easier to use product will go like will have a major boost. Previously, it was all about development, who had more features, which who could penetrate now. Now that everyone can build all the products, UX is gonna play the game.
fantastic. So Jawad, let's talk about the UX revenue, how UX can boost the revenue. So we recently coined a term which is bottom line UX. So the notion of bottom line UX, which is which in one line, which is UX should be responsible for bringing revenue to the company. As simple as it is, no bullshit, no other things. So UX is not something like graphic designing. UX is not something increasing the user satisfaction and other things. Definitely, UX plays significant role in this thing, but the critical role, the most important role UX should play is to bring money. Why as a founder you invest money on sales guys? Why you founder invest money on the marketing guys? Because they bring the raw cash, right? So why not UX designers should bring the rocket? So for that reason, we actually coined this term bottom line UX. So let's discuss some UX revenue thing, how UX can increase the revenue from very single tiny change. For example, what do we think? Revenue is equal to customers, but customers times ARPU, right? UX impacts the majority of the cycles of customer life cycle, inter life cycle, which is acquisition, activation, retention, and expansion. These four things are very critical among with others, but UX directly impacts in these four things critically.
Correct.
And 60% sign up completion is equal to and losing 40% of upfront. So if the user actually 100 users actually, and the 60% onboarded, then you lost the 40% one. And if you, and 30% activation rate is equal to 70% never get value. So if you are activation rate is 30%, 70% never get value from your product. And if there is 6% churn, why are UX is equal to 30%? So for only UX you lose 30%, 6% of your churn it is causing, and 1 million MRR, and if it is 6% churn is equal to 60k per month loss. Okay,
Correct.
so if it is only 3% via UX, the responsibility of the UX, then you can, if you solve the UX, you can save 360k annually, 360,000 US dollar annually, just by reducing your churn, which is caused by the user experience. Does it make sense to you?
Yeah, definitely. Like fundamentally, there's like two things I think UX makes the difference. One is pay to trial, like trial to paid conversion, like that's the game changer, and reducing churn. Like fundamentally, these two things, if these two things are solved, like these are core. The next things are basically like usability of the product and all, which is connected to churn basically. But if someone's like just starting out, like these two things matter the most in SaaS, and these like UX, a good UX design or redesign would just help with these two, which is like hit the bottom line as you mentioned.
Great. So in this customer life cycle from your website visit to onboarding, in this entire life cycle, what do you think is the where user actually feels you lost majority of the user? For example, not personally to you, but what you are understanding, where the user actually drops the most? Is it for in the sign up process? Is it in the lackings of wow moment, or is it in the lackings of trial to paid conversion triggers and other things? What do you think?
I think there's like two parts. One is when they are going through the onboarding process. In that onboarding process, there has to be some wow factors as well. It's just not like taking
Okay.
like form data. Like for example, you put in a website, and they'll like it'll scrape some data and just generate some information so that like they don't like fall off from the onboarding. Like sometimes people just quit the onboarding. So if there's like a 3-4 step onboarding, people should feel the wow moment as they move forward. Like something is happening one step at a time, so that makes them complete the onboarding, so nobody drops during that. And then the massive factor is like the wow moment. uh, Based on all the data they have taken, there should be a result at the end, and what it make what'll make difference, because we can see that when they don't have the onboarding and the wow factors, they'll just drop out in a moment, like. But if they stay, and then
Fantastic.
yeah.
Yeah. So did you experience? It is your first-hand experience, right?
Yeah, correct.
Okay. So what about the sign up process? The earliest process of onboarding sign up. So let me show you an example.
Sure.
So let me show you and correct me if I'm wrong.
Sure.
So my assumption is, for example, in any given sign up form, there are 7 fields. There are 7 fields, and you are asking all of the information from the client, which
Right.
might not be necessary in that point of time.
Right.
So you reduce the 7 fields to 3 fields, right?
Correct.
And it actually increase the conversion rate from 28% to 47%. It is 68% increase just
Correct.
for one single change, which is reducing the 7 input fields to 3 is the number one impact. So instantly your sign up rate will increase 28% to 47%. Now you have 1,000 visitors. Okay, out of that 190 more sign up. Okay, now trial 3%, a trial to paid conversion rate is 3%, 30%, and at $50 MRR is equal to 2,850 new MRR per month for one single change. Please remember.
Definitely.
So what we did, just we actually removed one single friction, just reduced 7 input fields to 3, and this tiny change actually impacted MRR by 2,850 per month. So do you believe this friction actually is available in contemporary products?
Yeah, definitely. There's like a lot of fiction right now, and as you mentioned, like the 7 fields to 3 fields, like that is like much needed for us. Like previously, we didn't have these like scraping features, so like if somebody puts it like just their website, we can do so much with those data on the onboarding process. I don't think people used to do this, or was they we had the technology to do that earlier. So for example, in our onboarding process, we asked them their website on they want to on
Busy reply, right? Busy reply.
yeah, which reply
Yeah.
how on which keywords they want to track. So once they just put their website link, we go to the internet, we write a description for the company, we find their names, we find their logos, we find like what suggested keywords they can search for, like everything. Like they just have to put in their website. Earlier, what we would have to do, like as you mentioned, like 7, we would have to ask them, hey, put in your description, put in your web company name, and this
Every
would cause
single thing.
yeah, that would cause like a lot
Yeah.
of friction.
Okay, great. So you experienced this one and you think it works, right?
Correct.
I don't know. What is your opinion?
Definitely works. Like I use a lot of products every day, so I can see on which products I like uh, getting onboarded, or like stickiness of the products.
Okay. So Jawad, I remember that you mentioned the aha moment thing. So for aha moment, I'll show you the very simple metrics, which is most SaaS bleeds here. The more SaaS have this issue, the emptiness of aha moment. There is no aha moment here. And when there is no aha moment, for example, you are showing a dashboard which is empty, no
Correct.
data here, then definitely instantly it will bounce. So what we can do as a UX designer, or what you can do as a founder, first thing is you can you can implement the guided navigation, where you will nudge the user to make them familiar with various features, various offerings, values proactively. And guided navigation is very, very popular nowadays, but I don't know why a majority of the well-funded startups is still missing this point, and they actually went to made themselves to series A or series A and above. But for some reason they are missing this point. Their website their dashboard is empty, or there is no aha moment here. So what do you think? What other ideas you might have to create the aha moment here?
Like at core, once they finish the onboarding, they should instantly see the value of the product.
Instantly.
Instantly, like within like
Okay.
2-3 seconds. That's the thing. Like we can put in onboarding, like guided onboarding, that's fine. We'll put that to make the user like comfortable with the product, but the wow moment has to be there somehow. It can be through the onboarding process, or like they could be like demo data maybe, but the wow moment has to be there. As you mentioned, if it's empty dashboard, that's like a big problem.
Okay. And the third phase is, which is trial to paid ratio. So what your personal choice in nudging the user from the trial to the paid conversion?
I think this is a difficult question. It depends on what the company is offering. So if it's like an
Okay.
enterprise product, maybe the trial period is 30 days. If it's like a consumer level product, like a prosumer product, maybe the credit lock-in is like makes more sense. Maybe there's like no trial, but there's like credit lock-in. So it depends particularly on the product. It's like, is it like a $20 product, $200 product, like $2,000 product? It's like totally depends on
On
the
the pricing and the
correct,
target audience, right?
correct.
Okay. So did you see recently any exciting trial to paid strategy that you like the most
I think the most common
in,
one.
in other products as well?
I think the most common one right now, since like SaaS is changing. So like it's the credit based system is like very popular. For example, Lovable, Roark, or like very similar apps. It's like they like make you finish the credits and then like tell you to subscribe. Like that's the very most common one, and it's like very interesting. If you give me uh, value, like it's instantly purchasable. This is the one thing. Another is like I like the ClickUp's trial to onboarding process, because like it's great, but once we have started using it like as a power user, like everything's locked in. Like it initially it looked like very easy, like hey we can use the free one, but like
Promising.
yeah, it's very promising. Once we got habituated, we have to like get to the pro one.
Fantastic. So okay, so in this trial to paid strategy, what we can do, what we can actually plan for is nudging the what works. So there are some strategies. Number one is progress indicators. You can put some progress indicator, and in certain point when there is a peak point, you can ask for the conversion. It's the number one. Second is usage milestone, which is AI companies are currently deploying, which is their credit and other things. And do you hear me clearly?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, which is usage milestone. And third is feature with value. So you have features, and with the more premium one, and along with the more premium values, you can approach that as well. And social proof, or definitely you are implementing social proof very well, and thanks to that. And urgency. So you can put urgency. For example, if you onboard today or this week, you can get 50% off, and beyond this limit you cannot get that 50% off. And be very careful, we should not use any kind of dark pattern here. Dark pattern means unethical user experience and the lying and cheating with the users. So these are the few things that we can implement and we can consider. And if you can double up, for example, if you can implement two things from these strategies, it will definitely increase 15% to 30%, or 5% to 15%. So it definitely it will increase, definitely. So
Makes
Jawad,
sense.
so there are other context I hear about UX versus value problems. Okay, so did you hear or did you experience anything like that, UX versus value problems? For example, you are asking for, users are asking for there are customer complaints that I actually know about your product, which is feature ghosting. You have the feature, but customers were not noticing that feature. So this is actually UX versus value problems. Okay, so what do you think? Is there any other experience you have already, or do you have any heard of anything like this surrounding of your startups surrounding you in San Francisco and New York?
So this is interesting. What happens is like if you don't have like a design team with you, these things comes up like this problem comes up more. So for example, like we designed first, we built an MVP, then we made a design of the product, the whole product. Then customers
Yeah.
started giving us feedbacks, but we were not together with the design team, like very aligned. So like customers wanted a feature, we just like put the feature in wherever we thought was good. Okay. So what happened was
Okay. Yeah.
we were giving the features, customers wanted it, that's fine. We deployed everything. But once like we were putting features as per our wish and one where we thought would make sense, like the product became massive, but the design was like a lot of designs were there, or a lot of features were there, but people couldn't find because like we were not aligned with the design team. Like we had a designer, but we were not aligned, and there was not someone who would understand the UX part very well, and we didn't even have the time to like ask the designer to deploy because like we had like a deal ongoing for like 30 days and like we had instantly like ship out features. But after that we realized, okay, now that the deal is over and like normal customers are coming, they can't seem to find the thing or the features. And then like with the new redesign that's happening with SaaS Factor and all, we have tried to fix all of that stuff. And probably and our goal is to like be aligned with probably like SaaS Factor being our like part of our core team. Whenever we launch a new feature, we discuss with them, and like based on their suggestions, we can like put the feature.
Also, there is a critical issue, which is that the alignment of design team not only with you but with the customer support.
Correct.
Okay, so always what in SaaS Factor, as we mentioned, in SaaS Factor we always first listen to the customer's complaint, not the founders. Founders come second. We always first hear the customer complaints on their reviews, their support tickets, and their clarity, their BR matrices, and we try to understand first what is going on, because the role of UX designing is something like doctor for the mature startups like yours. So it is something like the problem. Okay, so as a patient, I will actually explain my problems, not the solutions, right? So when founder actually began to explain the solution, then there is no role for the UX designers actually. Okay,
Yeah.
so it is a critical thing, and I actually seen this pattern and again. So here are the three type of problems that I actually experienced. Number one is customer says needs new features, which is a feature problem, definitely value problem. Can't find out the options, as you said, which is UX problem directly. Features exist but can't find it, awareness. It is also the UX problem. So out of three complaints, two are related to the user experience. For example, recently I have one of the marketing automation company I worked with, and the notion is that the customer said need better analytics. Okay, and the founder actually already invested 100K in 4 months on the analytics, but he got frustrated. Why users are actually asking, why the customers are asking repeatedly for the same thing which is already there. So eventually they actually got into the point, and it revealed that 60% did not know it existed. Okay, 30% could not understand it, 10% said that they needed new features. So as you can see, out of three research insights, 60% did not know it existed. It is UX problem. 30% could not understand it. It is also UX problem, and 10% needed new feature, which is not UX problem. It is a value problem. So out of these, 90% was UX related problem.
Correct.
Okay, so it is my recent experience. So did you what do you think? Is these experiences are common? As you already explained that the feature ghosting is here. Is it common for all other AI products or other analytical products, sales analysis products? What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's a common problem, especially with products which has like a
Sorry.
value product, which has like a lot of features. Like for example, Lovable probably wouldn't need like have like so much struggle, but probably a product which are with more features, they'll have this struggle the most. Like everyone would have the struggle, but the products which has like core functionalities and have like a bit more features and like a complex product, that's like the most, like you mentioned like an automation tool. Like there's so many things in an automation tool, and you would need to factor in all these automations.
Okay, great. So since I explained the problem to you, so I will share to you how to actually solve this one. Okay, so we can put better navigation, number one. Number two is we can implement clear levels. Number two, better tooltips. Number three, email alerts is very critical. And recently one of the startup of YC Unicorn I actually studied, they actually fixed this one. Whenever user is stuck in something that the feature is already existed and function is already existed, but user is getting it hard to understand, then instantly a email notification is triggered to their inbox and with instant supports. So it actually reduced the customer's friction significantly. I can't remember the number, but the reduction of drop off is significantly high. Okay,
Mhm.
significantly low. So we can implement these three things, and this usage might increase the customer, reduce the customer churn rate and increase the onboarding by 22 to 71%, and satisfaction levels definitely will be 35% plus.
Right.
So this is the same thing. Now I'm also interested about the UX design hiring things, UX design mistakes, because there is a common misunderstanding. As I said on our very early moment, I experienced this one: the founders' expectation and the expectation of the user experience designers do not match. Unfortunately, UX designers' point of view is different than the founders' point of view, and ultimately, founder actually become more reluctant to the user experience and the user experience designs. So biggest problem is founders hire the wrong expertise. Okay, so I will tell you the common misunderstanding and common hiring mistakes that the founder actually faces, and you will explain to me how we can actually improve that. Number one is they hire for the aesthetics, not the revenue, and it is a very very common pattern. If you look at the Drivel or other platform, you will see, and you will eventually, if you are not a very diligent founder, you will automatically understand that user experience is all about aesthetics, all about the illustrations, all about the iconography, color, and other things. And unfortunately, the 50 to 60% of the founders actually believes this thing this way, and for that reason they don't get the benefit out of user experience thing. So they actually require this thing, hire for aesthetics, not revenue. And what founders say to the designer is that we need someone to make our product look modern. Repeat, we need someone to make our product look modern, and our competitors UI looks something like this. So we need the beautiful interfaces. So aesthetics is the top priority here. Okay, it is a mistake that I'm explaining. And what they actually need, which is someone who can reduce churn by 3% at least, someone who can improve trial to conversion by 10%, someone who can find why 60% drop off rate at sign up. So what's your take on that?
Okay. First thing is, like, I made this mistake myself. I wasn't clear that UI and UX are separate things. I always thought like someone knows UI, they'll probably know UX as well. But these are like two different things. These are like software engineering and testing. Like these two different things. Uh, like I don't see it as a problem. Like people like I also want like aesthetic design. So I'd also give the feedback of like aesthetic design. But the aesthetic design has to come with like good UX, not just the aesthetic design. Like everyone would like their product to look very good, but also regarding the decisions of like what call to take, like if it's the founder's call or the UX team's call, it's based on the data. Like if we have something like Hotjar or Clarity connected to our like tool, those recordings will say what to do. Like nobody gets to
Yeah,
decide what to do.
clarity. Yeah,
Yeah,
clarity, Hotjar,
exactly.
things. Yeah,
Yeah, the
gray
recordings
matrix.
know what to do, not anybody else. Yes.
Yeah, numbers.
Yes.
Okay, so there is another trap which I missed previously, which is the portfolio trap. Okay, founder suffers from, which is founder sees gorgeous dribble portfolio or Behance portfolio, which is good, not bad one, but when it comes to UX, definitely you should look for something else. And upon that portfolio, based on that portfolio, and they hired the designer, and designer makes every single thing very very beautiful and top notch, but the conversion rates don't move, the metrics does not move, churn stays the same, and ultimately the founder might conclude that UX does not work for us. And the reality is that the founder actually hired a visual designer, not a growth designer or the user experience designer who actually can impact the revenue positively. Is the number one mistake that I experienced as well. And as you said, number two is looking for UX slash UI designer, as you just mentioned, UX slash UI designer. So it is a very very big red flag. The reason is when job posting says UX versus UX/UI designer, usually it means that make it pretty and functional. These are different skill, and definitely it is something like hiring developer/designer, because these are so different in their inherent value and in their inherent expertise. So what happens? Get someone good at UI, weak at UX, or good at UX, weak at UI, and definitely they are rarely excellent in both. So they end up with a beautiful design and definitely interface which is very confusing. So I will there is a better approach I would suggest. So what do you think? I'm interested about your views first. What do you think would be the better approach for this spectrum?
Yeah, like I agree with the things you've mentioned. Like how they're hiring is like a difficult call because like everyone have a different approach. Maybe the case studies help. Like when there's like a case study and then we can like read, like for example, like Dribble is good, like, but like once the case study gives them a lot more clarity on like who we are hiring. Like that's what helped me actually. Like okay, what's their approach? For example, the approach you guys take is like taking like seeing all the recordings and getting access to all the recordings of the users and then getting access to our support chats. Like this made sense to me. Like okay, this is where the issues are, they're reading this, so this makes more sense rather than like an approach where they said like just fix my UX. I think that's a that I think you can figure it out, but maybe doing it this way would make more sense.
Great. So there is a better approach which is hire for one single specialty, and we have to be very clear: is he a growth designer or UX designer or visual designer? So
Correct.
definitely in a company, the visual designer, the illustrator, and other people, other expertise can play significantly greater role. But we have to be very clear: if you are looking for user experience designer, you should not look for someone who is also expert in JavaScript, expert in HTML, CSS, and other these things. And it is the irony that I have seen a lot of job posts where it is primarily for the user experience designer, but also they are complemented by it with the other expertise like JavaScript, programming, Flutter, so other this thing. And UX designers CV is actually flooded with this thing. So it becomes very confusing whether he is actually looking for the user experience designer or someone who can do every single thing, and definitely someone barely do well in every single thing. So
Right.
what should be prioritized is the UX experience designer or the growth designer, and definitely the polish design should come later. So in in the interview process of the UX designer hiring where I went through earlier of my career, which is asking wrong interview questions. So the interview questions goes something like this: what design tools do you use? It is a very common common one. What
Yeah.
design tool do you use? Walk me through your design process. Show me your portfolio. So these actually reveals nothing about the business impact, the business numbers, the MRR impact, the churn rate impact, the onboarding impact. All are missing from these interview questions. You are only looking for the tools someone actually. So it is something like hiring a developer and asking for, do you use Visual Studio Code, something like that. So it is obvious, and these questions are being asked. So what the user founder and you guys, definitely you are well informed about this thing, because you are a serial founder and you have multiple products, you have richer experience. So what instead they should ask is something like, our trial to paid ratio is 12%. How would you improve this one? This might be a critical question. Here is our sign up flow where you are actually losing people. So analyze this one when the user actually drops off from my sign up flow, or tell me about a design that directly increased revenue. So it might be or might not be in their portfolio, but the understanding is very critical. Another question might be, how do you measure if your design works or not? Definitely they can ask this question as well. Also, what such metrics do you tackle regularly? What metrics you care about? So these, when the UX designer or the designer in context can answer to these questions, then it is a green signal and green flag that you are actually hiring a proper person for your growth and proper person for increasing the MRR and impacting your bottom line. So what's your take on that? What do you think? Is it something helpful, or you want to add some context here?
Yeah, definitely. Here the thing is, uh, like show, don't tell. Maybe asking them like, hey, can you do like an audit of this page of my application? There's like 50 pages in an application. Can you just do an audit of this page and tell me what is wrong and what we can do better? And when they just
Okay.
do just one audit, like it'll show a lot of things. Like once you there's like five designer or design teams phase, like everyone can do like one audit. And when they say, hey, this is wrong and this is why it's wrong and this will increase this, that will show a lot more things rather than like asking this question. That would like probably make sense for me. But there's like other
Great.
questions now. I
Yeah.
don't know. Yeah.
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 So definitely, certainly. Also, I have seen other successful startup who are actually obsessed, like Slack. They are obsessed on the user experience, better design, and the designers who they hire actually they are proactively look for this thing. For example, as a founder or as a other founder, sales founder and tech guys who might not be very clear about UX design matrices, the other things, right? So as UX designer, a diligent UX designer should be very careful about this matrix and proactively approach the founder to get the access to the clarity or other matrices or other SaaS matrices they have maintaining, and create the better version and create the better version of it and test that one, okay, proactively. So a lot of time founder might resist this approach. For example, they might say, oh, we don't need to test this one, it looks good. But the UX designer should proactively force this one to test and should say something like that: don't trust me, trust the design, and if the matrices are good, then definitely it's good. If it is not good, then definitely we should move on without this one. Okay. And another mistakes that the founders actually make in hiring the UX designer, which is they are hiring for the tools, not thinking, and they are actually in the job post. I have seen that some keywords like must know Figma, experienced with Adobe XD, proficient in Sketch. So these are the some tools, as I said earlier. So it is something like quoting in a front-end developer's job post is must know VS Code or something like that. So this does not matter. The only thing that matters, which is the understanding of the SaaS matrices and the measuring this one, how it is actually improving on every single UX nudge, and if it is not working, what other ways it can be actually improved. And in these significant and small nudges can make a company from 0 to 2 billion or 20 billion valuation within 3 to 7 years, like that what happened with Slack. Okay. So previously or down the line, you had a lot of UX designers from my experience and you already shared. So what critical things, Jawad, you take care of when you are actually in the process of hiring user experience designer?
Uh, for the UX, I think how good they are. Like it's very simple. Like because it's like the core of the product. Like once the product matures, this is what matters. Because like we can get a lot of visitors inside the product, but if they don't like stay or like it's all good. Like so like how good they are. That's like most important thing. It's not like how many hours they put in. It's not if they're monthly or whatever it is. Like it's like are they getting my work done and is it like good? Is the product is everyone happy with it? Like if that's good, like nothing else matters.
Great. Also you definitely care about the improvement of the bottom line,
Definitely,
definitely, by all
definitely.
means, by sales, by UX improvement, by marketing, by PR things, by every single means, because it is the ultimate goal for every single business owners. So we are very end of the podcast, and I'll wrap up with this some key takeaways, and please add what is yours. Number one is audit your funnel regularly as a SaaS founder, and the specifically the matrices which is improved by the user experience improvement, not other matrices, definitely for measuring the bottom line UX. Number one. Second is tracking the sign up to paid ratio, how much is actually being the ratio is, and also after optimizing or the second version in A/B testing, second version, is it actually there, is it static or it is actually moving? If it is moving, how fast it is moving, and definitely it is a great sign. And to find out what is the greatest drop off in the entire customer life cycle, and uh, it definitely certainly will find that the majority of them are UX related problems. So you should always connect user experience, or anybody should connect user experience with the revenue directly, and designer tracks same KPIs as the growth. So the growth team the marketing team and the designer team should be in the same table but with different matrices, right? And definitely for every single user experience changes, every single UI or experience or user interaction changes, there should be a business hypothesis behind that. Other than business hypothesis or other than business improvement or bottom line improvement, no change should be there, because it is not something like it is changing for the sake of changing. It should be aim in your mind, and that should be money. That's it. And definitely you should not put all of your money on marketing and sales and actually leaving empty table for the user experience things. You should every founder should invest proportionately. So these are the final takeaways from my point of view. And what is your point of view, and what is your final takeaways?
I think there's just one core thing. It's like if there is like a slight bit of product market fit, and like the importance should be of UI should be started. Like the earlier we realize, the earlier it's good for the company, because we do all the marketing, paid ads, SEO, whatever we want to do, we do. But if, as you mentioned at the start of the call, if it's like a leaky bucket, nothing matters. Like people will come, they'll probably buy it for the first one, and then like
Come and go, yeah.
correct.
Great. So actually, at the bottom line, the startup ecosystem is something like very chaotic. They are busy with raising money, hiring, shipping, selling, and in that point of view, UX feels like luxury. But the truth is, in SaaS, UX is your product.
Correct.
So powerful features means actually nothing. Powerful technology means
Correct.
nothing if you are delivering those things poorly. If users can't figure out those, if onboarding confuses, if interfaces frustrates, definitely they churn. And churn is the dread in subscription business, in any SaaS business. But the hope is that if you invest little bit amount of money, for example, as I said at the very beginning, when the marketing budget is 1,000 to 1,500 per month USD, and if you for customer acquisition, not marketing, customer acquisition cost, and if you only invest $50 per customer, the customer acquisition cost reduces significantly low, because it when customers actually sees that there is no friction in their onboarding, certainly it increases, the onboarding increases. And so this is not something like nice to have or something like luxury. It is a very, very critical metrics, and the founders should be very, very careful about this thing. They should be demanding from the user experience that they should aim the user experience as their new revenue funnel. At the same time, the UX designers should not be obsessed on only the button designs, the hero section designs, the cool stuffs, the illustrations, rather solving the UX issues that increase direct revenue, not only the customer satisfaction, which is a very taken for granted in the market, sorry, but for the revenue from the perspective. Okay, that's it. Do you have anything at the last moment suggestion, and any last suggestion for the founders, contemporary founders of yours, or the UX designers who are applying to you, or the fellow UX designers?
Yeah, I think my last words for this episode would be like UX is gonna boom, like moving forward. People can replace code, people can like replace a lot of things, but like thinking, like journeys and all, this is I really think it can be replaceable. So this is something, it's a hard take, but I think that's gonna be the case.
Great. So Jawad, all the best for your biz reply.
Yeah.
See you next time.
See you.
Have a nice day.
See ya.